We're starting to see kids not just get excited about going into engineering, but going into manufacturing.
This is Tim Shimbara coming to you from the MFG meeting here in Orlando, Florida. We had an opportunity to have an additive manufacturing panel this morning, and today I want to have a chance to review some of those key takeaways with our panelists here today. We have Mike, Rob, and Lonnie with us, and the three takeaways. First thing I thought about, Mike, was that additive manufacturing is not just solely for rapid prototyping anymore. Can you elaborate a little bit more about that?
Yeah, well, we've seen it evolve in the past 10 years from definitely being a designer's tool, going with the theory of fast failure, trying to make a design and quickly prove it out. But it's really impacted rapid tooling a lot in the injection molding industry for inserts. It's kind of the de facto standard for patterns, for investment casting, and other forms of metal forming. And now it's starting to affect production as well, to where we're seeing low volume production batches and just staying away from tooling wherever possible. And that's really changing the paradigm and how you launch a new product.
Yeah, making a company adaptive. I loved it. Rob, there's an interesting takeaway in the business decision realm. A lot of diligence is due to make an additive business decision for the firm. What do you take away from that?
Yeah, I think you're right, Tim. You know, there's a couple different avenues to look at there, Tim. One is the aspect of purchasing equipment. Equipment's very expensive. It's in the $1 to $3 million range, or even more if you want to get crazy. So it's a very expensive aspect. But the reality of it is, from the business side of things, we talked earlier about the example of the buy to fly ratios of buying 10 pounds to get a 1 pound part. Well, if you can reduce that buy to fly ratio, that makes big sense. In particular, the example we talked about earlier was a 2,000 pound forging to get a 200 pound part. If you can drop that to a 400 pound or 450 pound forging, and then laser additive features onto that, and then machine that down to the 200 pound part. One, there's a huge material savings of 4 to 5 to 1. Two, instead of making 1,800 pounds of chips, you make 300 pounds of chips. So all of a sudden you reduce your machining time. So obviously that's a cost savings for the end user of that part. And if a lot of customers we talk to, sometimes the machining is the bottleneck in the process. So if you can reduce that time and they can sell 4 or 5 or 6 parts for the same machine time as one part, that's obviously a win-win. So there's a number of aspects to look at, and of course we're working hard to lower costs of equipment, lower production, increase production rates, to make it more cost effective. Because right now it's good for small amounts of material, working on high-value parts, and not into the automotive yet. To do 10,000 parts or a million parts, we're not there yet. But small quantity orders and small amounts of material and high value works very well.
Okay. So the diligence is worth it.
Diligence is necessary, and it is working. It's not right now. It's not for everybody, but as the industry matures and gets more efficient, you'll see that you're going to find there's going to be little webs, little fingers that can come out and be accepted. Yeah.
Got it. Appreciate it. Lonnie, there's definitely a trend of the effectiveness to the awareness of additive manufacturing across not only industries, but even in academia and even K through 12. What is your take about innovation and the incentive for the next generation to understand additive to keep us?
So these kids get it in terms of this technology. Kids being I've seen kids that are 3 years old learning how to print parts all the way up through high school. We've had a disturbing trend in the United States over the last 30 years. That whole Yankee ingenuity means you got to know how to make something. And we've gotten to where most high schools don't have machine shops. We're not teaching kids how to make stuff. 3D printing is more of a safe way for kids to start to make things. And high schools are starting to have maker spaces. And as I said earlier, we're starting to see kids not just get excited about going into engineering, but going into manufacturing, because the perception of manufacturing, when you talk to most people, it's of the factory of the past. It's not something that's high tech. It's not something that's exciting. And I think additive enables us to kind of pivot away from that and really get people excited about where we're going.
Yeah, it's funny, if you look at addiction plus creation sort of breeds innovation, right? Gentlemen, I appreciate your time, not only this morning on the panel, but for this interview, and we look forward to the breakout sessions later this afternoon. This is Tim Shimbara for IMTS TV. Thanks for joining us.